is the Rangers Journal Night.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rangers Journal. I'm your host, Scott Mackay, and I'm delighted to be joined by probably the biggest Nedim Bajrami fan in Albania, joined by Redian from Albanian Football. How are you, mate?
Yeah, thanks for having me once again. I'm very good, and I'm looking forward to this one.
Good, good. So, it's just give me your initial thoughts on how Bajrami's played since he signed for Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a short and a long answer. I'll try to keep it somewhere in the middle. I think overall, he's been very inconsistent, which also means he's been quite average, you could say.
Mhm.
I know we've only been halfway through the season, but I want to split it up in two anyway. So let's say the first quarter, I think he was very, very good, and he showed exactly why I was speaking so highly of him and why everyone was kind of hyped to see him play. And I think the second quarter, which is like October until now, I think he's been a shadow of himself, and yeah, it really hasn't been anything that we had hoped for.
Aye, fair enough. What do you put that down to on the kind of the second part of the first half of the season? Like, what's caused it? Do you think?
It's a fun one because at the start he even surprised me positively because he was playing left wing, and I've seen him play left wing for Albania quite a lot of times, and I haven't been that impressed by him. It's definitely not his position. He doesn't have the pace for it, and I don't blame him if he plays bad at left wing. But he was playing fantastic for Rangers even at left wing, and so people were thinking, especially myself, he's gonna reach another level or at least maintain the same level when he gets into the 10. Ever since he got into that 10, he's been quite bad, and
Mhm.
it's a weird one because how does that happen? Like, how do you all of a sudden lose your ability? I think the biggest issue here is confidence. Confidence is always a big one in both in life and in football, but
Yeah.
especially with these attacking players who have to create something, be on the ball, have the confidence to try some nonchalant stuff. I think when you're low on the confidence, it's very hard to perform, and that's what I think has happened.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Just got a comment here for one of my members. He's saying he looks homesick. Do you think it could be a settling in issue into Scotland, into the club? Do you think it could be coming into a new environment that's maybe affected his form?
I thought about it, but I genuinely don't think it plays a role here because when people are homesick like this, I think they don't like it from the beginning. But when he came, he had two good months, and then it doesn't matter if he's playing in bad weather or whatever. If he doesn't like living in Scotland and stuff like this, he would have been bad from the start. But I think overall it's just because of footballing issues. I don't think it's too much to do with Scotland and the culture there.
See, in terms of obviously, you must have followed him last season when he was at Sassuolo in Italy. Um, has there been a big kind of drop off now that he's came to Rangers? Comparing him to when he played in Italy to how he's playing in Scotland, like what's the difference in your opinion?
Yeah, it's actually a very good question because he's had two very inconsistent seasons in Italy prior to getting to Scotland. The season before that, when he was only 22 years old, he got 14 goals and assists in Serie A, and that's where he made a name for himself, you could say, because 14 goals and assists for quite a bad side in Empoli, who aren't really stable in the Serie A. It's fantastic. He was scoring great goals, free kicks, long shots, playing some fantastic football. Switzerland wanted him for their national team, which is quite a good national team, and also Albania, of course. But yeah, then something happened where he was playing quite bad for Empoli, quite inconsistent, like we see with Rangers right now. And then he went to Sassuolo, who used to be a very good Serie A side, who caused
Yeah,
all
right.
sorts of troubles, but they were going through some bad times as well. And I think that's where his inconsistent period started.
Right, okay. Okay, that's fair enough. Do you think the way he's being used by the Rangers manager Philippe Clement is part of the problem?
I think the two biggest issues are some of his mentality problems due to confidence and mentality in general. Because I see his effort lacking way too many times, and it's something
Yeah.
which I cannot defend. I'm not. At the end of the day, I'm one of his harshest critics also because I want him to do well for Albania. It's not because I know Bajrami personally or anything. I simply believe in him as a player, and I need him to do well. And when I watch my football team play, I can never, excuse people not putting in the effort. That's like the bare minimum when you play football. So that he has to change. I cannot excuse that at all. Confidence. I think the confidence issue has actually been caused by Clement, because when he came in at the start, he only played left wing, played well, but it's not his position. And when you get told, which I can imagine, we're signing you to play the 10 at Rangers and you're not
Mhm.
playing there, I think he gets frustrated with time.
Yeah.
And also, he played very well in a time where most of his other attacking teammates were actually quite poor. At the start of the season, let's remember Czerny, he was having a very rough time. The fans were on him as well. And Dessers was playing quite badly. He never really got this good connection with Igamane up top. And I think if that had happened earlier, we might have seen a different Nedim Bajrami today. But I think his confidence got shot by some of these bad tactics by Philip Clement, playing left wing, playing in a team which isn't that good at controlling game, and is
Mhm.
better on the back foot pressing. And I think that's all played a role in him losing his confidence these last couple of months.
Just quickly staying on kind of Clement's tactics. When Bajrami has played left wing for Rangers, I've thought he's played better than when he's played in the 10. Do you think that could be down to a kind of lack of understanding? It's just when you're saying about effort and stuff now, when Bajrami's got to play left wing, he needs to track back in Scotland. He needs to take his man. He needs to choose his times to go forward and get these incisive passes going. When he's in the 10, I think he disappears from the game. He's not visible. He's not. It's almost as if he's a wee bit lost in the instructions he's been given. Um, do you think that left wing is a better position for him at Rangers, or do you think we should persevere with him in the 10?
It's a very good question, and I think one of his strengths is therefore his tactical discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds weird because he's been quite bad at tracking back, as you say, but let's remember he comes from Italy, where everyone knows the role to a T. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
tactical football.
Mm-hmm.
And we've also seen it when he plays against Celtic, where he gets this clear instruction to mark McGregor, for example, and he does it
Mm-hmm.
very well. So I
He's
think
the
it's
only
not.
one. Just
Yeah,
to say, he's the only player to do that job against McGregor
yeah,
in the
yeah,
past
exactly.
4 or
And
5 years.
he did it twice. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
just
Yep.
a one off. So he's proved he can play a very good role if he gets to know what to do. I see a guy in other games when he plays in the 10 who doesn't really know what he's doing. He's looking around,
Mm-hmm.
looking a bit lost, and I think there's definitely an issue there of Clement not knowing exactly what he wants from him, and Bajrami not knowing what Clement wants.
Mm-hmm. Aye, definitely, I would agree. Do you think the return of? I know what I sent you a pile of questions before we come on here, so I apologise for springing random questions on you. Do you think the return of Yanis Hadji to the Rangers starting 11 has affected by Rami? You speak about his confidence. Do you think that Hadji can be? He's not a similar type of player, but he's kind of plays in the same position. He knows the Scottish game a wee bit more. Do you think that by Bajrami coming out the team, do you think Hadji's inclusion is what could have affected his confidence?
Ooh, I
Now
don't.
we have seen them play good games together, but we've
Yeah,
seen them play
exactly.
bad games together as well. So it's a difficult question.
Exactly. The thing about it is, I don't think it has, and I really don't hope it has,
Mm-hmm.
because if you lose confidence just because you have some sort of competition for your role, I see
Mm-hmm.
that as a big weakness mentality wise. You should be more fueled up to play better and secure
Yeah.
your starting spot when you have competition. You can't just go into a new club and expect to play every single game regardless of your performances. You have to prove it every single time, and that's how it is when you're at a team like Rangers who want to win, who want to be a champion team. You have to prove it. You're as good as your last game. That's just how it is. And the thing about it is, them being similar players. I always say this: good players, they find a way to link up on the field. I know some of them is going to play left wing, someone is going to play camp. They will interchange during the game. They just have to link up and get an understanding. So I think it's possible for them both to play together, but it's also possible to just fight for a spot. So I really don't think it has done something to his confidence, and I certainly don't hope it has.
Changing it now, changing the narrative on him. How do Rangers have invested a lot of money in Bajrami. For Rangers, 3 million, 3.5 to 4 million is a lot of money just now in the current climate for Rangers Football Club. How do we get Bajrami playing better? What do you think is the best thing that Rangers can do while picking up results and performances?
Yeah, it's a complicated issue. I want to say, to be brutally honest, I don't think we're gonna see the best version of Nedim Bajrami as long as Clement is the coach, because I simply don't see his tactics fitting well with Bajrami. The problem is I don't see him getting fired anytime soon. He has had some okay results in Europe and stuff like that, but I just think, and I noticed that this very very early on with Clement. I don't think he has the mentality as a coach to be a Rangers coach, because he always deflects blame. He always talks in a bit of a weird way. I don't like his press conferences. When you go and lose away games as often as Rangers do, or when you fail to really make an impact and create and dominate oppositions like you should take all the blame as a coach and not try to deviate from all sorts of facts. So yeah, I really don't like the guy. I respect him in some sort of areas, but I don't think Bajrami is going to do well with him. But let's say Bajrami stays beyond the summer, Clement stays beyond the summer. I think it's very important that you get a left winger in who's got some sort of pace to him, who's a natural left winger, because that's what people like Bajrami like to play with. They like to play with a striker they can, associate with. They like to play with two wingers who always make the right runs, and that's where we can get the most out of Nedim Bajrami, I think.
All right, okay, that's a decent enough point. Where was in his career? What system has he fitted into tactically that's brought the best in him? So has it been with Albania? Has it been with Sassualo? In his previous clubs, where do you think, position-wise, he's played that he looks most happiest and he's found his best form?
Yeah, there are two periods where he's been equally as good and where he's been very good. First of all, with Albania, as soon as we got our new coach Silvino, in our 2023 year, I think it was, when we qualified for the Euros, we won the group, and he was, the man in midfield. Our coach made it very clear that everything goes through him, because he's the first creative player we've had in midfield for quite a while, and he completely changed our team. So he was getting goals, assists, great goals and assists, important games also, and he was just tracking back and forward, playing that 10 role, sometimes even like an advanced 8, and he was doing everything you wanted him to do. And he did the exact same with Empoli when he played back there. Also, this 10/advanced 8 role, that's where he excels, because he can do the dirty work. He just needs to know when to do it and when not to do it, and when to go forward, when not to go forward. I think in Sassuolo, he played sometimes left wing, sometimes 10.
Yeah.
It was very messy there. And we've also seen with Albania now that our coach has become a little bit more paranoid. We play some bad football nowadays. He also plays left wing. He hasn't been that good, and Albania haven't been good for it.
It's weird because you look at. I remember when we heard him, it could be. The rumour was he was coming in and loan with an obligation to buy. He was coming in and loan with an option to buy, and then he signed like late at night on deadline day. And I remember looking at clips of him, and I seen him. I think he scored the fastest goal at the Euros.
Yeah.
At the last Euros competition there, and when I looked at that goal, I thought, right, he clearly got work ethic. He's got an eye for goal. And in the other clips I seen of him, made an eye for a pass. It was very mobile around the park. And I think I totally agree with what you're saying, Redian, in terms of he's a player that's bereft of confidence. He looks lost in his surroundings where he shouldn't. He should look more at home by now.
Yeah.
What would you say is his biggest weaknesses then? Like, we're talking about the lack of effort and stuff. That's all things that can be fixed with confidence in my eyes. But in Scotland, you need to you can fix the lack of effort and stuff yourself. I think there's an element of the physicality of the league that's maybe playing a role in his adaptation. What would you say is Bajrami's biggest weaknesses just now?
Yeah, I think when I talked to Dave earlier on, we were talking about a guy who's got some sort of pedigree to him. He's got a good name, man. Like we can clearly see all the technical qualities and the good ball control and all sorts of stuff. But we were also talking about whether he can actually fit into the Scottish game, because it's very different from anything he's ever been to. In Switzerland, when he played for Grasshoppers, it's very much like the Bundesliga, front and back, high tempo and stuff like that. He fit in it well. In Italy, it was very tactical. We know that, slower tempo. But in Scotland, it's very physical, high tempo football, and you have to you have to be a bit of a shithouse, to be completely honest. You want to do well there, because all the teams you play, except from Celtic or maybe even someone like Aberdeen at times, you're going to play teams that just want to mess you up and do all the dirty stuff. So you have to have that type of mentality too. I think he physically needs to improve in some areas. Sometimes he's a bit slow. I don't think it's a big problem when he plays in the midfield. But if he wants to play left wing, he also has to, be a bit more mobile, a bit quicker. But overall, I think physically he has to adapt. But every single other weakness, I think it's mentality issues. I've seen it quite a lot of times, to be honest, where he plays one very good game against like the best oppositions, like an Inter, or he scores against Italy or something, and then he goes 5 games where he's just, I won't say arrogant because I don't know him, but it feels like it, where he just goes, I've done this, I'm all right, I'm all right. It's not just a Bajrami issue. It's quite an Albanian thing to do that.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so we like to just live on the past sometimes. Yeah. And then when we're about to get out the squad, we play good again. But you have to be more consistent, because you don't get anywhere with that sort of mentality.
Aye, definitely. I think especially at Rangers as well, you've probably learned since Bajrami's been here that the Rangers fans demand consistency in performances every week. So I think that's something that it could get fixed while he's here. And I hope it does. I would like to see him find a bit of form and show why we spent so much money on him in the summer there, because we spent a good bit of a budget on him. But Redian, thank you for coming on. Do you want to tell folk where they can find you?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me once again. As you can see, my handle is right there. It's ALB Football. I speak mainly about Albanian football, both on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. So give it a follow if you like, and see if you want to know something more about Albanians.
Aye, definitely. Well, everybody, that's the interview over. Thank you for joining me, Redian. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We'll have a match preview coming out in my community post later on tonight. We'll be back tomorrow morning with our pre-match thoughts for Dundee United and then a post-match reaction. Then we're back Monday night again with the game breakdown and maybe speak about another subject. There's plenty coming on at Rangers Journal, so please like and subscribe to the channel and help us grow. Redian, thank you for joining me once again, and I'll catch up with you in the group chat.
Yeah, thanks.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.